Hi everyone, we are going to be trying out some hot new makeup in this video today. Some of it I've been testing over the last couple of days, some of it is brand new, still in the box, never been opened, and one of them is still in transit, and I'm really hoping it arrives by the end of this video. We've got products from Makeup Forever, YSL, Givenchy, Guerlain, Rodial, and Swede, so lots to get through. Let's get straight on with it. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you haven't subscribed to my channel for any reason in the past, I would love it if you consider doing that in this video today. Also, click the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I've got what looks like a really sore patch on the side of my nose. Please do not worry, it is not sore anymore. It is 100% healed. It was a little spot that got infected by the pads of my glasses because it's where my glasses sat, and the spot wasn't getting any air throughout the day. It just did not heal. So I've had my red light therapy on it for the last couple of days. It's healed pretty much immediately, but the redness is still there. So it will be interesting today to see if the makeup that I'm going to try on covers over that redness. It does look really angry, doesn't it? But it's really not. First of all, we're going to be testing this eyeshadow palette from Givenchy. How beautiful is this palette? I will show you the swatches on the screen now. This is a neutral cool palette rather than a lot of the other neutral warm palettes that they already have on offer. I've never owned a Givenchy palette before. They've never really appealed to me. I did quite like the gold palette that was released not that long ago, but this one spoke to me and I had to buy it immediately. It is beautiful, and I have had this on my eyes already because I just could not resist, but we're going to try it out again today. First of all, I'm going to take the bottom right shade, so the last shade in the palette, take a little fluffy brush and just dab that on the outer edge. Don't want this to be too dark. I want this to be more of a day look rather than a dramatic evening look. You can create both. This is such a well thought out palette. They definitely know their target audience. You've got 6 matte shades which are absolutely glorious, very easy to blend out, including this creamy tone which is absolutely phenomenal for an underbrow highlight. If you don't like anything sparkly but you're after something that is fair enough for that underbrow highlight, this has that in there. If you do like something sparkly, however, they do have 3 metallic shades on the top row, one of which is like a pearlescent white, so not only great for that inner corner highlight, but if you like a sparkle underneath your brow, great for that as well. They're just superb, and this is probably going to be the palette that I will take away with me on holiday because it's compact, like I said, has everything that you could ever require, and it is just so classy. The colour story is gorgeous. I love how Givenchy have thought about every single skin tone when they created this palette because there's something in here for everybody. If you have fair skin like me, you can definitely make this palette work, but obviously if you have much deeper skin, there are also those deeper, richer tones in here as well, which will look beautiful. Next up, let's get some foundation on my skin. I actually did a poll on Instagram to ask which foundation you actually wanted me to feature in this video today, and this was a hands down winner. This is the new Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow. So I had this on my skin yesterday for the first time. So let's try it out again today. I'm gonna put a little bit of contour just on my forehead to begin with and then blend that in. The shade of foundation I've gone for is the shade 1N06, which is pretty close. So I was really pleased when it arrived and I applied it for the first time and thought, yes, I am on to a winner. This is definitely a good shade match for me. I mean, look, you can hardly see it. The glow is definitely there immediately, and there is a slight tackiness on the surface of the skin for a while until this is powdered down. I haven't tried this with a primer underneath it yet or a setting spray over the top of it, so I haven't tested out longevity with those other products yet. But I mean, look how beautiful my skin looks. This is going to give you probably light to light medium coverage. It's more like not really a tinted moisturizer. It's a little bit more coverage than a tinted moisturizer, but it is more sheer than a lot of other foundations that I've tried out recently. So if you are after full coverage, bear that in mind. I don't think you'll get that with this foundation, but it is a lovely finish. Usually I don't go for things that are this glowy, but really, really lovely. So as you can see, with one coat of the foundation, it hasn't 100% covered the redness on the side of my nose. So if you do have a lot of redness on your skin that you want to cover over 100%, this probably isn't going to be the foundation for you. I'm sure you could build it up on certain areas, but with the glow of this foundation being as it is, and I do think it's incredibly flattering, I don't think this glow emphasized my pores or my texture, which is a welcome change for me with a glowy foundation. I think if you built this up too much, the glow would just be, well, too much for me anyway. So I'm not going to try building this up anymore, but I do think it looks very, very pretty at the moment. I did have a lot of dry, flaky skin around my nose and on my chin yesterday. This foundation obviously did emphasize those dry, flaky areas, as any foundation would, and it didn't soften throughout the day. They remained there and evident throughout the day, which doesn't happen with some foundations, but it definitely did happen with this one, so that's something to take note of. So I don't want to really give my final thoughts on this foundation yet. I will be including it in a foundation roundup video that's coming very soon. I like to test out foundations for longer than 1.5 days before I give you my final thoughts. What I can say is this is beautiful on my skin. It surprised me how much I actually like it. Yesterday it didn't last for a long amount of time, 5 hours, and it started to go downhill. But again, like I said before, I hadn't used it with a primer, I hadn't used a setting spray, and I don't think I powdered it in place yesterday. I think I only powdered my T-zone in place. Today I'm going to try powdering it all over and see how it fares, but I'm going to hold my thoughts there and update you in a future video. Let's get some concealer on. This is from Rodial and it's the Glass Concealer. And as soon as I saw that this was available, it went in my cart. I'm not quite sure how long this has been available for. I'm assuming it's new because I've not seen it before, but I may have just missed it. I have no idea. I absolutely loved the Rodial Lowlighters. I've got the banana and the peach, so I'm really excited to get some of this on. So I think this is the fairest of all of the shades that they do, and I think this is pretty deep for the fairest shade. So if you do have a skin tone that is fairer than mine, this might not work for you. Luckily, I do really like a concealer that is more or less the same shade as my natural skin tone. I don't like to go too brightening underneath my eyes. It just doesn't suit me for some reason. I'm not quite sure what it is. I just prefer something more natural underneath my eyes. So I'm going to apply this first of all with a brush, and then I'm going to go in with my fingers. So I'm just patting that on just over the areas of darkness, and then I'll really work that into the skin with the warmth of my finger. I'm going to leave that on the surface of the skin for around about a minute just to let that start to set. I find that this works best for me. Then I'm going to start to pat this into the skin. There's definitely a sheen on the surface of the skin that is like a glass skin effect with this, hence the name of the product. I really quite like that. This has peptides within the formula. It's also got quite a few antioxidants within the formula as well. So some skincare benefits. I do love a concealer with those added peptides because I just think it helps to plump up the skin underneath the eyes. I do prep my under eyes really well before I apply concealer, but I do think the peptides within any formula of concealer do help. That shocked me a little bit. It really has. I mean, it's not covered 100%, but I was not expecting that level of coverage. I was expecting light to light medium coverage. I would say this gives medium coverage immediately. That glass skin, that reflection really does help to reflect the light, to disguise the under eye circles a little bit more. But, I mean, this is definitely the right shade for me. Definitely. There's not very much brightening going on underneath the eyes because it isn't fair enough for that to actually happen. But the glass skin sheen is helping with that just a tad. I am going to apply the tiniest bit more just over where I usually have my darkness, because I think that will determine whether this is going to crease or not. It has started to move in my lines a little bit. Maybe this is one that you have to smooth out with your fingers and then set immediately. Don't think this is going to be a concealer that I could go without setting. But that's just my initial thought. Maybe I'll try setting one side, not do the other, and we'll see what it looks like at the end of the video. As you can see, this does have a slight peachy tone to this concealer, which also helps to disguise those under eye circles, any purpley or bluey tones underneath the skin. This will help to neutralize. So, impressed with it so far, although it is moving around quite a bit, so watch this space. Let's try out the YSL All Hours Hyper Finish Powder. Haven't even had this out of the box yet, no idea what it looks like. Of course it's beautiful, of course it's beautiful. It looks like one of their little mini clutches. Let's have a look inside. So you've got the powder on the top, which is a pressed powder, and then underneath you have a little sponge. So I'm not going to use the sponge. I'm going to use my powder puff as normal because I know how that applies powder beautifully, and I just don't want to risk it with this powder as it's new. So we're going to go in with a bit of the powder. It's really hard pressed, so you don't pick up masses even with a swirl, which I really like. Just going to massage that into my powder puff. Let's go in. I'm not going to go straight in underneath the eyes. Let's just pat that in first. This is beautiful. That's really beautiful. Look at the shine in the center of my forehead. Let's see what we can do with that shine. It's gone. Now there is a little bit of white cast that's rubbing off on my skin. You can definitely see it's lightened off my skin. So if you do have quite a deep complexion, I'm not quite sure how this is going to work for you unless you apply a setting spray over the top to melt this powder into the skin. If you have tried this already and you have a deeper skin tone and you love it, or it really didn't work for you, please let everybody know in the comments section. That would be so helpful. Okay, so let's go back to the glass skin effect on the concealer, which is really helping to disguise those under eye circles. My under eye circle is now starting to poke through. Now we've mattified this concealer. So that taken away, it doesn't help matters if you're trying to disguise under eye circles and make your under eyes look flawless. However, unfortunately with this concealer, I don't think I'm going to be able to get away without powdering in place because it is moving all over the place and really emphasizing those fine lines underneath my eyes. So let's powder this side as well and see how we get on. Now there is a possibility that I applied way too much of the concealer. Had I applied it very sparingly, it may not have creased on me. I will try it tomorrow and I will let you know how I get on in a future video. Just going to finish off this eye look with a bit of shadow underneath the lash line. I just think it looks more natural that way, and it just makes everything look a little more polished. So everything that I'm applying to my skin in this video, I bought with my own money. Apart from the products from Swede, I received a really nice PR package from them last week, and I thought I'd try out some of their products in this video today. So this is the Swede eye pencil in the shade Bright, and I'm just gonna pop that in my lower waterline just to brighten that up a little bit. Wow, that is definitely bright. Not too bright, it's not like a white. This has got more of a pinky tone to it, but it is very, very brightening. That's very, very brightening. Maybe a little too brightening on this side. So, I mean, it applies very, very well. Do I look a bit more like a doll now? I think it's starting to look a little unnatural. I'm not sure I love this. It may soften. Let's give it a chance to soften a little bit. I've got a lip liner from Swede as well, but let's move on to bronzers. So of course I was going to pick up a couple of the shades of the YSL All Hours Hyper Bronze. I've heard great things about these. I've got them in a couple of different shades. These are the two fairest shades that they do. So on the left we have shade 1 and on the right we have shade 2. I like to use a really fluffy brush with any powder bronzers because I find if I use a really compact brush it goes patchy on me regardless of what bronzer it is and how expensive it is. I'm just not very good at putting on powder bronzers, so I'm going to use my BK Beauty 104, really swirl that in the pan. It's beautiful, and I'm just going to dust that around the perimeter of my forehead just to show you the difference. The subtlety is stunning, it truly is. And because of the fluffy brush, you can be quite heavy-handed with this and not have to worry. Even though the colour payoff of these products is gorgeous, the subtlety of this shade makes it so easy to apply. Let's go in with shade 2, just so that I can show you the difference. Again, using a fluffy brush, this is really hard pressed in the pan. You don't get a lot of kickback in the pan. It's just really nice and soft and beautiful to use. So as you can see, both sides are completely different. Shade 1 is far more subtle. There's a slight pinky tone to it, but there's also a slight yellowy tone to it as well without making it look like a bruise on my skin. It's not that much yellow, but the bronzing effect is more yellowy than a real warmth to it. And then on shade 2, this is much more of a bronzy bronzer. So it gives a little bit of warmth without being overpowering and orange. I really like both. I do like both. I think for today's look, probably 1 would have sufficed, but I'm gonna even it up and put 2 on this side as well. Curl my lashes. Then I'm gonna try out the brand new L'Once di Mascara from Givenchy. I knew this was coming and I had it on my radar for quite a while. I was so excited. And I've got to say, when I first tried it out, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I was expecting slightly more from a mascara. I was expecting extreme volume, extreme length, just va-va-va-voom. Givenchy is one of my favourite brands. They bring out a mascara they tend not to miss. So Paul, on the Givenchy counter, he sent me a cheeky text the other day and asked me how I was getting on with it. And I said, you know, I'm a little bit disappointed because we always tell each other the truth. And he said, please stick with it. Don't put it down just yet. Just wait. It will come into its own and take on a new life. And boy, was he right. He usually is. So it does take a while. So usually a mascara for me takes around about 3 days to grow its wings, to thicken up the formula a little bit. And this is a very wet formula. At first it reminded me a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Push-Up Lashes formula, which I also really liked, but I was just expecting something a bit more. And then this one, other than coming into its own on day 3, this one came into its own probably on day 5 or 6. And I mean, look, They're just beautiful. They really are. Now, this is an expensive mascara. It's Givenchy. Do I think if you don't usually spend money on high-end products, you should immediately go out and run and get this mascara? No. No, I don't. I'm sure you will be able to get something similar for a lot less, but the reason I like this one so much is, one, it's really beautiful and black. It's a really nice black. It's not anything too harsh. I think it's slightly more muted than an ultra black. Also, the formula is very wet. It's very easy to coat the lashes. On day 1 and 2, they weren't coating evenly. That completely changed day 5 and 6. And you get this coating of the lashes that is so fine, and yet it's buildable to create volume. All of your lashes are completely separated and really fluffy, and you don't get that crunchiness that some mascaras can give that make your lashes feel like they're going to snap, like they're super brittle. You don't get that with this formula. I also really like the wand. So it's nothing absolutely groundbreaking in this wand, but the cone shape grabs the lashes on the outer edge, allowing you to coat every single lash in a few swipes. So yeah, I really, really like this. So that's 2 coats of the mascara on the top lashes, 1 coat on the bottom. It's really easy to coat the bottom lashes without overloading the bottom lashes, which I really don't like on me. It makes my eyes look a little heavy. I've got to say I'm a little bit smitten with this mascara. I think it is beautiful. I will carry on trying it out though and let you know how I get on, because I've only had it for around about 8 days now, so yeah, a lot can happen. We have some brand new blushes from Guerlain to try out. These are the terracotta blushes. I have them in 2 different shades. So on the left we have shade 2 and on the right we have shade 3. I actually thought shade 3 was going to be my favorite because under the lights of the department store, shade 3 was more of a really warm pink. I've got it home. It's slightly more on the mauvey pink side than I thought it was. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. So I'm going to try shade 2 today, and then I'll try and blend some of shade 3 over the top once we've seen what this is actually going to look like. Again, taking a really fluffy brush to begin with. I can always pile more on with a dense brush, but see what the colour payoff is going to be like first with a slightly fluffier brush. Okay. I made the right choice in shade. Look how beautiful that is. I don't think these are available in the US yet. Sorry about that, because you're gonna want to go and pick one of these up. This is such a beautiful formula. This is like satin on the cheek, so it's not flat matte, but it's not going to emphasize pores and texture either. It is stunning, absolutely stunning. If anything, I feel like this is diffusing my pores and my texture. So, I mean, win-win, win-win-win-win-win. Let's try shade 3 on the other side, because I may be disappointed for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Definitely a fluffy brush is the way to go with this. The colour payoff is fantastic. I do prefer this side with a slight bit of warmth to it rather than the pinkier tone that is shade 3. But I mean, I can't complain. I've got the Swede lip pencil in the shade Barely There, which sounds like it's going to be right up my street. This blends in really well to my natural lip colour, which is perfect. You've also, on the other side, got a little bit of a lip brush. So if you want to, you can blend this in to the body of the lip. As far as the colour goes, this is the perfect nudie pinky brown tone for me. I just absolutely love it. The product itself, the consistency is soft, but not too soft. It's very easy to apply, not overly waxy. I really like it. No negatives here as yet. And these are the products that I was waiting for. Ray did not disappoint me. Ray is my postman. He is absolutely fantastic. And he arrived 15 minutes ago and pushed those through my letterbox. They are the Huda Beauty Faux Filler lip gloss, and I am so excited to try these out. I have them in 2 different shades. So we have the shade Honey and the shade Bombshell. I think for the look that I've created today, let's try Honey first, and we can always layer Bombshell over the top. So, oh, quite difficult to get the applicator out of the tube. It was quite tight. This one is the shade Honey. Oh, I really like the applicator. Oh, that's really different. So it's curved, so you can apply this directly to the lips. It really hugs the contours of the lips, but you've got a nice pointy edge so that if you want to be precise, if you're not wearing lip liner, you could be. And it holds a decent amount of product. So I've applied one swipe on one side, and you can just turn it over without having to re-dip into the tube, and you've got a load more that you could apply if you wanted a little bit extra. The pigmentation is really nice. It's not opaque, it's a lip gloss, but the pigmentation is definitely there. I was expecting less coverage than this, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It also tastes really nice. It feels very pleasant. There's not a hint of stickiness to this, but it feels really smooth on my lips. It feels like it's going to hydrate and nourish, and my lips already look a little bit plumper with the effect of the gloss. Just gonna take that bit off, which came off really easily as well. I don't know why I've just rubbed my lips together. Hang on. Let's apply the shade Bombshell. Much pinkier, much deeper, a little bit more pigmentation in there. I prefer the other one though. I'm gonna switch back. The shade Honey is definitely my favorite out of the 2, although I will wear them both. I think it looks beautiful, it feels beautiful. I really like the applicator. It's very easy to apply. The only difficulty, again, is getting that applicator out of the tube. But if that's the only thing I can complain about, I think we're on to a winner. So before I finish this video, I just want to mention something, because this lip gloss, the Faux Filler, is not sticky. But just zoom in on my mouth a second. I'm going to show you what it looks like when I open and close my mouth. Can you see the corners of my mouth? It's sort of grabbing a little bit. I don't know whether I've applied too much of the product. I don't think I've had this happen to me before. It doesn't feel sticky, but something weird is happening. Wanted to point that out before I finish this video. Anyway, that is it. I don't think I can narrow it down to my top 3 favorites, because I've really dropped on with the products that I've tried in this video today. I've loved so many, so please let me know your 3 favorites that I've tried in this video today. I've linked a couple of other videos over here that I think you may enjoy. Please don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.